Good morning and welcome to our first class about personal pronouns. As you know, in every single language, whether it's Spanish or Portuguese or English, every single language is based on the most important structure that a language has, which is the sentence, la oración. What is a sentence? A sentence is almost like a mathematical structure that is formed by three elements that are tremendously important. You must have a person that you're speaking about, or a subject. You must have an action. And then you can have additional information. These three components, especially in English, will give the basic structure for what we call a sentence, oración. So when we're speaking about the person, we're speaking about generally those first 7 words that you learn in the English language to try to speak about different subjects. For example, I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. As you see, these are only 7 words. I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. And these words identify the people that you're speaking about or the objects that you're speaking about when you're starting a sentence. The action is actually the verbs that you will be using to express what type of activity is this person that you're speaking about doing in the process of your description. So the person is something that we call the personal pronoun. Some people also prefer to call them as nouns. And the actions or verbs are those actions that are realized or done or performed by this person. For example, go, or see, or say. So, if I think about English in a mathematical formula, I always think that in order for me to have a successful sentence, I need 3 components for English. And these 3 components must always be present in your sentences or oraciones so that when you speak in a way that people can understand you. In English, in order for you to create your first structure of sentence, you must have a P for a person that you're talking about, plus a V, which is your verb, and additionally, you can also have a C, which we're going to call a complement or additional information. Your formula must always follow this structure to form simple positive sentences. If I replace the values, the P is the person or the personal pronoun. The V is the verb or action. And the C or complement is going to be the additional information that you're going to offer to identify specifically what this person or subject is doing. So replacing the values. What do we have? P, B, C. Yes, like those plastic tubes that you use to install like things in your bathroom, for example. That, PVC. It's easier to remember that way. So P is the person. And in English, you start basically with 7 persons. You have I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. Also, when you're speaking about a verb, you can use any verb that you can think of. The most commonly known at the beginning when you're just learning a language, it's, for example, go, come, see, say, have. Generally, those are verbs that we call essential verbs of English because with them you can actually survive or actually successfully communicate in English. Finally, you have the complement, which is additional information. What additional information? For example, replacing the values. The P is the person, so I'm going to speak about I, which is me, yo. Then I'm going to add a verb right next to it because that's what the formula says. If you have a P or person right next to it on the right-hand side, you got to have a verb. So I'm going to go with go. So I have I go. I is the person and go is the action. So what is the complement? The complement is sometimes the how. How do they do it specifically? I go, it makes sense but doesn't have a definite specific meaning. But if I add, for example, to school, that is that additional information that explains somehow the how this action is happening. So now I have I go to school, which means that I have a person, a verb, and a complement. So this very simple structure, which is a full structure in English, will help you establish good sentences. In order for you to have good sentences, you must have a pronoun, a verb, and a complement, which means the person, the action, and how do they do this action. This is our class for today, and you can use this lesson to learn English structure and also some Spanish. See you next time.